What is up, guys? It is your boy Jimmy Oz here, back with another video, and in this video I'll be showing you the best Berserker setup for Hypixel Skyblock dungeons and how you use it in each floor. And before the video starts, I just want to let you know that only 6.3% of you guys are actually subscribed that watch my videos, so I would love it if you guys could just go drop a sub. You can unsubscribe later if you don't like my videos. I would really appreciate it because I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers, and just really appreciate it. It'd be great. Alright, so we're going to be starting off with the weapons first. So as you can see, the main weapon you want to use for Berserk is the Flower of Truth. It is the best weapon you can possibly get for Berserk, and this is just because you can left click and right click at the same time, and you get lots of lifesteal, meaning you can survive the terracottas or the wither miners in floor 7, and yeah, it's just super good. So on this weapon, you want to always put smite 6 on your weapons, because sharpness isn't really good because all the mobs in dungeons are undead. So smite 6 is super helpful. It deals so much more damage to undead mobs. And you also want to put siphon on it. Doesn't matter if it's siphon 3 or 4. I definitely recommend siphon 4. It is only 700k, so it'd definitely be a great weapon to use for lifesteal with siphon. But it doesn't really matter if it's siphon 3 or 4, but lifesteal doesn't really work that much because you're always dealing critical hits, and what siphon does is it gives you more lifesteal based on that critical hit you do, and since you're a berserk, you'll always have a 100% crit chance anyway. You also always want to put ultimate wise 5 on it, just because it costs less mana. It usually costs 10% of your mana, but if you have ultimate wise, it'll cost around 20 or 30% of your mana. It'll cost around 5 or around 5% of your mana, so you can use the ability much more. You can also always go with the Livid Dagger, but the Flower of Truth is still the best, and you always want to 5-star it. You can have it at least 3-starred, but definitely go for a 5-starred one, and a good gear score, as you can see below the Flower of Truth name. And also put it either on Sharp, Fabled, or Withered. I have it on Withered because I mainly do floor 6 and 7, and it just gives me a bunch more strength with my Baby Yeti pet, which I'm going to be getting into now. Alright, so for pets, I would definitely recommend using a Baby Yeti. This is by far the best pet because you get way more EHP, and you can tank more mobs because not many mobs do true damage unless you do floor 7, but Baby Yeti is definitely good, and you want to get it at least above level 80. Anything above level 85 is even better, and you want a Dwarf Turtle Helmet. I know this costs a lot. The Baby Yeti will set you back maybe around 50 mil if you get it level 80 with the Dwarf Turtle Helmet, so it's definitely a lot of money, but it's definitely 100% worth it. You'll be making so much more profit. And also the Flower of Truth will set you back about 15 to 20 mil depending on what you get on it. For a substitute pet, instead of the Baby Yeti, you could use a legendary blue whale, which if I come up here, and I put in the legendary blue whale, the cheapest one is 18.8 mil, level 1, and if you want to get it above level 80, it'll set you back around 25.9 mil. Remember, this has an XP share. The Shelmet costs around 8 mil, so it'll set you back around 31 to 33 mil, depending on what level you get. Another substitute pet you can get is the Wither Skeleton. This is mainly for damage, and also it's great for floor 7. It's a super cheap pet, and you take less damage from wither mobs, which is why it's good for floor 7, but also deals a bunch more damage. Alright, now that we've gone through weapons and pets, we'll go through armor. So, as you can see, I've got the best Berserker armor you can get. It's Ancient Necron armor, but this is super expensive. This will set you about 80 or 90 mil, including the chestplate. The 3/4 of the armor will set you back around 60 mil. Actually, no, this will set you back actually around 100 mil, because the chestplate costs, for 4-star, which is what I got with Ancient on it, it cost me around 61 mil, and then these pieces, the leggings, around 30 mil, boots 20 mil, and the helmet 20 mil as well, so it'll set you back around 100 mil, 110 mil. As you can see, this is super expensive armor, but you can get this if you can afford it. It's definitely worth it. It's so much more tanky, gives so much more damage, but the other substitute set is Shadow Assassin armor. This armor is really, really, really good. As you can see, it's super cheap as well. If I go for a 5-star, Shadow Assassin boots are only 3.1 mil. The helmet is only 3.5, leggings only 4.5, and then the chest plate is the most expensive because it's quite a rare drop. It is 30 mil. But instead of the chest plate, if you can't afford it, definitely go with a Zombie Knight chest plate, just because it gives you a lot more EHP than the Zombie Lord chest plates, which you can get from floor 7 and that kind of stuff. Zombie Knight chest plate is the best, but don't get it epic. I definitely recommend getting it legendary, just because the legendary gives much more EHP and damage. Definitely get Rejuvenate 5 on all your pieces, just because it'll increase your base heart rejuvenation, which will give you like more survivability in dungeons. And for the Zombie Knight chestplate, really doesn't matter what you get as long as it's 5-starred. You want all your pieces to be 5-starred. My Necron armor isn't 5-starred except for my leggings, but that's just because Necron armor doesn't really need to be 5-starred. It can be like a minimum of 3 stars, but definitely want your Shadow Assassin 5-starred. And if you don't reckon you can survive, get a Bonzo mask, which is what I use for floor 7. You just wear it on your head, like that. Just wear it on your head. Definitely put Rejuvenate on it. But what the Bonzo mask does is, when you're about to die, you gain damage immunity and 30 strength, and it fully replenishes your health. And what this does is it basically lets you have an extra life, and it buffs you when it saves your life. And definitely get this 5-starred. You need it 5-starred. It's super cheap to 5-star as well, and it only sets you back at 800k. And I put a Giant's Tooth on it because it gives me more EHP. Alright, so now that I've told you about the weapons, I also want to tell you about things you can use if you're switching to Berserker and you want to do the high floors, for instance floor 7. For floor 7, get Tarantula Boots. What this does is, when you're doing the boss, what you do is you just put your Tarantula Boots on, and someone goes into the portal in the Watcher. And when you use your when you put your Tarantula Boots on, the person who's going in blood, you come up, you look up to the roof, and then you spam your spacebar. I know this is quite loud, but you spam your spacebar, and it'll allow you to fly in the boss room, which isn't an intended glitch. So do this at your own risk, because it might be bannable. I don't really know. But I just see all people like Refraction using it, so I do it anyway. And that's just because you'd have to ban like half the people on the server if it's not allowed. So yeah, I use that glitch, but do it at your own risk. The next things, like the items, basically you want to get is any Power Orb, Radiant, Mana Flux, or Overflux. I definitely recommend Mana Flux and above, because the Radiant's kind of useless, and the Mana Flux gives you lots of strength and heals you faster. Also, an aspect of the end, Berserks can't really get around that much, but with my armor, I get decent mana, so I can fly around, and I just spam my aspect of the end, which gives you lots of speed, and you can just fly around, I guess. And the next thing you want to get is an Ornate Zombie Sword or a Florid Zombie Sword. This is super useful, as it comes in handy when you're about to die. You can press the key that's on, and you can just like spam right click, and what it does is it has these little tickers you can see in the bottom corner here. And what these tickers do is they heal you. It heals for 144 hearts plus 5% of your max health, and you heal players within 7 blocks for 48 hearts, and it costs 70 mana, and it only has 5 charges before they rejuvenate every 15 seconds. Next thing you want to get is the Diffuse Kit. For Trap Room, I definitely recommend having a Diffuse Kit, is you can just hit those little wires on the bottom, and then they'll diffuse, and you can just walk over it without triggering any traps. And Spirit Leaps, whenever you get stuck or you're about to die, you can press on the Spirit Leaps, you right click, and what comes up is usually a menu here for all the players, and it just teleports you to players. And then Super Boom TNT, you essentially just right click, and what it does, I can't use it on my island. You right click and it comes on, and then it explodes all the Super Boom walls, so you can get secrets. It doesn't really matter what bow you have. I've got an Unreal Magma bow, and what this is for is for blaze puzzles or for terminals when you're doing the arrow puzzle. But it doesn't really matter what bow you have because it doesn't really depend on damage unless you're an archer. Get something like a spirit bow or a death bow. So that's pretty much it for the armor, the items, the weapons, and the pets. And next I'll be talking about what flaws you guys should be doing based on your gear. So with your gear, if you have Shadow Assassin armor, you need floor 5 completion, which isn't too bad. So it's super easy to get, and if you can't do floor 5, I definitely recommend a Discord server called Dungeon Maniacs. There'll be a picture of it up in the screen, and I will link an invite down to Dungeon Maniacs in the description below. And this server, basically, it's the largest Skyblock carry service. There's a bunch of people on there, certified carriers that are above Catacombs level 30, which I am not, obviously. I am a decently low Catacombs level, but I'm not a carrier, so you know. And in the server, you can just open a ticket, and then from there, you can get a carry. So people will reply to you, and then you can carry all the way up from floor 4 to through to floor 7. Just letting you know, the carries are quite expensive. A floor 7 completion carry is 6 mil, I'm pretty sure. But that's the most expensive one, and then all the other carries are super cheap. I think the floor 6 completion is around 750k, and the floor 5 is around 500k. So it's a super good service. Definitely recommend it. Link is in the description below. Definitely go check them out and do the carries if you can't do any of the other floors. And then once you have your Shadow Assassin armor, I'd recommend getting up to at least Catacombs 22 before you start doing any floor 6s, and then at least Catacombs 25 before you start doing floor 7s. Alright, that should be it for the guide, and thank you guys so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day. See ya!